The ocean doesn't speak in words. It speaks in waves and tides. And on one September day in 2017, it spoke to Nan Hauser in the most unexpected way, through the body of a 40-ton humpback whale. The morning was perfect. The kind of perfect that makes you forget the ocean can be cruel. The sun stretched gold across the surface. The air smelled of salt and promise. Nan slipped into the water with her mask tight and heart steady. She'd done this for decades, filmed whales, studied their songs, cataloged migration patterns. They were her life's work and her life's love. Today was supposed to be routine, a quick dive, a bit of footage, nothing dramatic. Her crew waited on the boat, cameras ready. Nan adjusted her GoPro and descended into the quiet waters. The ocean wrapped her in its cool arms. She exhaled, slow bubbles spiraling upward. Then she saw him. A whale, big, too big, heading straight for her. Nan froze. This wasn't normal. Humpbacks don't charge divers. They're curious, sure, but this was a missile of flesh and barnacles coming fast. "Easy," she whispered, though the sound went nowhere. The whale closed the distance. His head loomed, white patches gleaming like faded scars. She felt the water heaving with his mass, felt the pressure like an invisible tide against her chest. And then he touched her, gently, then firmly. For a split second, she wasn't in the Pacific. She was a kid again, barefoot on Maine's rocky coast, staring at an endless Atlantic horizon. She'd asked her father once, "Do whales know our names?" He smiled. "Sweetheart, I think they know more than we do." That answer stuck like salt on her skin. Decades later, it still hummed in her head as 40 tons of whale pressed against her in the open sea. Does he know mine? The whale didn't drift away. He stayed, pressed his massive rostrum against her side. Nan tried to swim off. He followed. She kicked harder. He circled. "Okay, buddy," she muttered into her mask. "You're in my personal space." Then came the shove. Not violent, but urgent. A force that said, "Move." He nudged her toward the surface, then under his fin, then back up again, like he was trying to cover her. Nan's heart slammed against her ribs. This wasn't playful. This was the purpose. Every instinct screamed at her to stay calm. But how do you stay calm when a living mountain decides you belong to him? When one sweep of that tail could snap your spine like a twig? And yet, even as fear coiled tight in her gut, another thought pushed through. He's not trying to hurt me. He's protecting me. From what? She flashed back to every dive before this one. 30 years. That's how long she'd been diving. 30 years of whales drifting past like slow-moving continents. Not once had she feared one. Not like this. She remembered filming a mother teaching her calf to breach. The joy that had cracked her heart wide open. Whales never wasted effort. Every move had meaning. Which meant these shoves, these lifts, not random. And suddenly, Nan knew. Something else was out there. Something worse than 40 tons of whale flesh pressing her like a bodyguard who doesn't explain the rules. She saw it then, a flicker of gray below, long, smooth, sinister. Her blood turned to ice. Because this wasn't another whale. It was sleek, cutting side to side, not up and down. The tail moved like a question mark carving the water. A tiger shark. 15, maybe 18 feet, big enough to swallow her legs in one bite. Nan's breath hitched. Her heart stuttered. And just like that, every documentary clip, every headline about the shark attacks flared across her mind. The shark circled, slow, patient, death on a loop. The whale knew. Of course he knew, and he wasn't leaving. He shoved her up again, wedged her against his head like a fragile thing he refused to surrender. The shark's outline thickened as it closed the circle. Nan gripped her GoPro like it was a weapon, though she knew it wasn't. A useless piece of plastic against jaws lined with razors. The whale slammed his pectoral fin down, sending a shudder through the water like a rolling earthquake. Nan clung to his barnacled skin without thinking. Her palms scraped raw against the crusty surface, but pain didn't register. The whale pressed her tighter, his eye flashing past hers for the briefest second. Dark, glistening, and, God help her, intent. She could feel his heartbeat thrumming through the ocean itself. Every move he made was deliberate. Blocking, pivoting, angling his 40-ton frame so the shark couldn't draw a straight line to her. And Nan thought, why? Why me? Why this? But the questions drowned under another realization. This whale wasn't just acting. He was fighting for her. The shark swam lower, vanishing into indigo gloom, the kind of vanishing that means don't blink, it's coming back. The whale tucked her under his pectoral fin like a mother tucking in a child. She was engulfed, wrapped in the cold shadow of something vast and unyielding. Her chest burned for air, but she didn't dare thrash. Not when the wrong move could cost her life in two directions. Above, air; below, teeth. She felt the fin pinning her gently but firmly enough to say, "Stay." It was like being held inside a living fortress. She heard nothing but the hammering of her own heart and the slow thunder of his movement, like a war drum in the deep. She tilted her head and saw it again, the shark, slicing closer now, its stripes ghostly in the dim light. Every nerve in Nan's body screamed, "Move." But she couldn't. The whale wouldn't let her. And somehow, she trusted him. Trusted the weight, the strength, the strange calm humming through his massive frame. And she thought, if this is the end, it's going to be inside a miracle. The ocean exploded in a sudden twist of violence. The whale spun, tail lashing, churning white foam like a storm. Nan clung to his back as the world blurred into motion. He drove forward, faster than she thought possible for something so huge, pushing her toward the shimmer of daylight near the surface. The shark darted back, then lunged again, but the whale cut him off like a bouncer at the gates of life. Every second stretched thin as glass. Nan's lungs clawed for oxygen. The salt burned her throat. She surfaced once, just long enough to gulp air, before the whale plunged again, forcing her under as his body twisted in a slow, controlled spiral. She realized then this wasn't panic. This was choreography, a dance for survival, and she was his partner, whether she wanted to be or not. Nan had never admitted fear in the water. Not once. But now, pinned against a whale's jaw, staring into the black hollow where the shark circled, fear bloomed cold and merciless. I might die out here. The thought unspooled in her mind like a current, not because of the shark alone, because whales don't know their own strength. One wrong push, one sudden surge, and her body would snap like driftwood. She fought the rising tide of panic. Years of training whispered, "Slow your breath, save your air." But the reason was a faint spark against the roaring dark inside her head. The whale lifted her again, breaking the surface. Sunlight hit her mask like fire. She tore in a breath so sharp it cut. Salt water spilled from her lips as she gasped and prayed in the same motion. Then they plunged again. The whale wasn't done fighting, and the shark wasn't done waiting. The boat was a far-off dream, a speck of white bobbing on the endless blue. Nan could hear the faint echo of voices, shouting, panicked, but their urgency was swallowed by the ocean's enormity. The whale angled hard, his tail pumping like a piston. Every movement said one thing, "Go, go." Nan's muscles screamed as she clawed toward the ladder. She felt the current rip like invisible hands, trying to drag her back to the dark where the shark still carved silent arcs. The whale surfaced beside her, his head rising like an island from the sea. His blowhole exhaled a column of mist that kissed her face as if to say, "One more push." She lunged for the rung, fingers slipping once, twice, then locking. The crew grabbed her wrists, hauling her up like a hooked fish. Salt stung her eyes. Her body hit the deck with a thud that felt like resurrection. She lay there, gasping, the sun scorching her salt, slick skin, and dared one glance back. The whale floated a few yards away, massive, serene, as if the chaos never happened. His eye broke the surface for a heartbeat, watching her. Nan raised a trembling hand in a thank you she knew he couldn't understand, or maybe he already had. Because after a long pause, the whale exhaled one last plume of spray, then rolled away, slipping beneath the blue like a secret swallowed by silence. The shark? Gone. The ocean. Innocent again. But Nan knew better. She knew the rules had been rewritten that day. Back on deck, wrapped in a towel that couldn't warm her bones, Nan shook. Not from cold, but from the aftershock of something vast and unexplainable. She replayed every second in her head, the shoves, the lifts, the circling dance, the way that whale never left her side, never let the shark near. Her crew buzzed with disbelief. Cameras had caught some of it, but not the heartbeat, not the terror, not the impossible tenderness of being saved by a creature that owed her nothing. Nan whispered, more to herself than anyone, "He saved my life." The words sounded unreal, and yet salt on her lips told her they were true. She didn't expect to see him again, but a year later, in the same turquoise harbor, a whale surfaced with a fluke she knew like a fingerprint, scar on the rostrum, notches on the tail, him. Nan slid into the water, heart hammering. Would he remember? He came slow this time, gentle. A pectoral fin extended like an old friend offering a handshake. She touched it, tears breaking loose in her mask. No shark, no fear, just reunion in the wide, forgiving blue. Nan tells the story now with the same awe she felt that day, not as proof of magic, not as a fable, but as a truth she lived. That a whale, 40 tons of bone and breath, chose to stand between her and death. Why? Maybe instinct, maybe something more. But every time she closes her eyes, she sees that dark, watchful eye, feels the weight of a body that could have killed her, but didn't. Instead, it carried her, and in that carrying rewrote everything she thought she knew about the wild. The ocean keeps its secrets, but every so often it lets us touch one,